life was about. You know, I didn't really care about anything else. And so yeah, I did this graphic design job. I left that. I went to another graphic design job, and then I lost that. And then I ended up in sales, in retail sales, which I absolutely hated with a passion. I was very, very good at it because I like talking, and I like talking to people and stuff like that. You know, that's my main skill, I suppose, is communicating. But I hated it. I really, really hated it. And the money wasn't that great. But really, I was in that job. It was the means to an end, so I could just party. You know, I was living at home with my mum and my dad and my sister, not paying that much rent and that, and all my money went out just, you know, partying. But I remember at the age of I started getting panic attacks at the age of 21, and you know, I started like getting these very, very. I used to get palpitations and stuff like that. I used to get these panic attacks, and I'd be sweating, and I'd be 100 miles an hour, and I just didn't know what was wrong with me, and I just thought it was normal to live like that, you know. And you know, these got worse and worse and worse. But I've got to say, I was doing a hell of a lot of cocaine at the time, which probably didn't help, you know. So yeah, this continued, and in around the year 1999, year 2000, I had a lot going on. You know, I had a major cocaine problem. I was drinking hell of a lot. I had a couple of bereavements in my family, and what else happened? I split with my girlfriend, and at the time I was working up in London selling high-end menswear, and I was working for these Iranian guys, and yeah, so I remember this is my very first episode. So yeah, my dad had to lock me in the house because he obviously knew that something wasn't right. He locked me in the house, and he phoned a doctor up, and a doctor come round with a nurse, and I remember them talking to me. They asked my mum and dad to go into the living room, or they talked to me in the kitchen, and I remember my gut instinct was I was very scared, and I was very wide-eyed, wild-eyed, and almost sort of feral-like, you know. And I remember them saying to me, they looked at me, and yet again, I don't know if this happened in my mind or if this really, really happened. They looked at me and said, "Do you believe in mind control?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And the next thing I remember was them having my mum and dad back in the kitchen and giving them 2 pills and telling me to take 1 pill before I go to bed and 1 pill in the morning. And anyway, that night I went to bed. I had a pill. I took the pill before bedtime, and I remember this is when I had my first out of body experience. I remember coming out of my body and going up somewhere up there. Well, I went up into space. I literally did go up into space. And I remember flying. It's like my soul, my spirit was flying all over the world, and it was just the most amazing feeling. It's just the most amazing feeling. And I remember re-entering my body, and I was so scared. I thought I was dead, so I had to check myself. I had to go in the mirror and sort of check that I was still there, you know. And it was just like, and then I just felt so powerful, so powerful. It just felt beautiful the way I was feeling, you know. And then the next day, my dad drove me to the Bethlem Royal Hospital, which is a psychiatric hospital, and I didn't want to be in there, you know. I see a doctor. I remember I was speaking 100 miles an hour. This stuff was coming out of me. It was like I was channeling these words, and they were just coming out of me, you know. And this is when I got sectioned for the very first time, and my mum and dad left me in this hospital, and I was so scared. I thought I was going to be left there and just the key was going to be thrown away, and it was terrifying, you know. And I remember that day or afternoon or evening, I can't remember what it was. I got all the other patients to try and escape with me, and I set off all the alarms, and I caused carnage in there. And I remember I actually physically struck one of the nurses, the male nurses, in the face, and I think I got injected for the very first time. They basically pull your trousers down and pull your pants down, and they put an injection in your arse, you know. They put an injection in your arse to sort of calm you down, you know. But that didn't work because I was so high. It didn't work. I mean, when I go in hospital, they have to scrape me off the ceiling because I was so high. And that's what bipolar is. Bipolar, you get severe highs and severe lows. Everyone gets highs and lows, but it's like a pendulum, you know, and it just swings that way and that way. But with me, it just swings like 360 degrees, you know, and 360 degrees the other way. But as I say, you get a really euphoric feeling when you're high. I mean, I don't know how it works, but it's like I release all my feel-good chemicals in one go, you know. As I say, that was my first episode, and consequently I've been sectioned under the Mental Health Act around 13 times. And each time I've had a different episode. And I was talking about drugs earlier on, like, you know, I used to take ecstasy back in the day when it was pure sort of ecstasy. You know, I used to pay £20 a pill. You know, I'm not condoning anyone taking drugs or anything, but that's what I used to do. And, you know, I used to get the most amazing euphoric feeling off of this ecstasy I used to take. But I've got to tell you, it doesn't compare to having a manic episode. When I'm having a manic episode, times that feeling of when I used to take ecstasy, times that by 1 trillion times, and then you're sort of getting somewhere, you know. That's how high and beautiful I feel. You know, these doctors call it a manic episode, but every time I have one of these, I liken it really. It's like a spiritual experience for me, you know, because I'm in this bliss-like state of nirvana, and it's just absolutely beautiful. But unfortunately, you know, I've not yet mastered how to control this, you know. And the mind's a very powerful thing. I mean, I've been in places in my mind where no one else has ever been, you know. And whether these experiences were actually real, you know, I'll never know. But, you know, if it's happening, as far as I'm concerned, if it's happening in my mind, and that's my reality, then it's happening, you know. But yeah, I've had some amazing experiences. But as I say, I've yet to be able to control them. And unfortunately, I go so high, and I don't sleep sometimes for a week or two, and that causes me to have, you know, like auditory and visual hallucinations. When I'm high and when I'm having one of these episodes, one of the things that people get with bipolar type 1 is delusions, and I have these delusions of grandeur, and these are repeat patterns which I have. For one example, I think I'm a billionaire. I think I'm rich. I think I own the world. It's almost like I'm a megalomaniac, you know. But I feel like God. I feel like God. I feel incredible, you know. But the only thing with feeling like this is that you make poor error of judgment, because you feel sort of invincible, you know. And I've got myself into a whole heap of trouble. Every time I have one of these episodes, I always end up in London. I go missing, and I end up in these high-end, high-powered places, i.e. I always go to Buckingham Palace. I always go to the Houses of Parliament, and, you know, I've spent time in places like the Ritz, thinking I'm rich, you know, because I'm having these delusions, and I have these connections with everything. Everything is connected. You know, this is madness. It is madness, but it's also, I feel like a genius, and everything is connected. Every single thing is in perfect synchronicity, and it's like, say for instance, like when the sun comes out, the sun's coming out just for me. When there's a red light at the traffic, when the traffic lights when the traffic light's red, it stops red just for me. When the train comes at the perfect time, it's come just for me. And you know, when there's a song on the radio, it's just for me. We also get like these telepathic messages off of the television and off the radio, and it's just like I'm on this frequency where everything is in total synchronicity, and I'm connected with every single thing on the universe. And also get these connections, as I say, I get these repeat patterns with MI5. I'm convinced that I work for the government, you know. I'm convinced that I'm part of this MI5 conspiracy. As I say, unfortunately, when I'm like this, I feel invincible. So, as I say, I get myself into a whole heap of trouble.